You're watching Reality Check. The government has indicated that Twitter no longer has legal immunity in India from prosecution over users' posts because of its failure to comply with the new IT rules. This comes just soon after the UP police registered an FIR against Twitter, as well as a host of journalists, fact-checkers and Congress politicians for inciting communal hate. What was their quote-unquote crime? That these journalists and others pushed a communal angle in their tweets about a viral video capturing the attack on a Muslim man, Abdul Samad Saifi, who was beaten up and his beard shaved in Ghaziabad near Delhi 11 days ago. Now, Saifi claimed that he was made to chant Jai Shri Ram. The police claimed that this was not, as he alleged, a communal attack, and that Saifi was beaten up by a mixed group of Hindus and Muslims, angry with him for peddling fake cures. And hence the FIR against these journalists and others, as well as against Twitter for not taking down their tweets. Here's the thing though, online hate and disinformation is rampant and needs to be reined in. Social media giants like Twitter have had a long, chronic history of failing to adequately police hate on their platforms and of evading accountability and government oversight. But alas, that's not quite the case here. For one, the UP police is still investigating the attack, raising questions on how it can prematurely determine whether the attack is of a communal nature or not. Saifi's son, for instance, has said that his father is a carpenter and not a seller of remedies. Two, as this tweet by the managing editor of Live Law, a legal website, points out, multiple news outlets carried an account of the beating up of Saifi, citing his claims that it was a communal attack. So why just select only a handful of journalists and others? That's a question. The names in the UP police FIR are a giveaway. Mainly journalists and political party members, almost all of whom happen to be Muslim, and news organizations like The Wire, seen as critical of the ruling regime. In a statement, The Wire said it was reporting the violent attack as well as the version of events by Saifi like many other news outlets, and that the FIR is an attempt to criminalize the reporting of anything other than the official version of events. These actions, the supposed stripping of Twitter's legal immunity, the UP police FIR, only deepens the impression that the government is not genuinely interested in exerting oversight over social media platforms or on the unbiased crackdown on hate speech and disinformation. Note that hate speech and misinformation by its own party and its allies, online or offline, gets a free pass. Just take the oft-cited case of Amit Malviya, head of the BJP's IT wing, who, as an alt news piece points out, is a ringmaster of misinformation. His hateful and bigoted tweets circulate online for days, facing no action from Twitter or from government authorities. Here are just some examples. He tweeted a video of journalist Arfa Khanum saying that she's promoting the establishment of an Islamic society. This was fact-checked to find that the video was clipped and misrepresented, that Khanum was actually urging anti-CA protesters not to use religious slogans. He tweeted saying Pakistan Zindabad slogans were raised in Lucknow during anti-CA protests. An alt news fact check found that the crowd had actually chanted praises of the AIM Lucknow chief. He tweeted saying AMU students chanted Hindus' graves will be dug on AMU's chest. A fact check found that students were actually shouting slogans against Hindutva, against Savarkar, BJP and so on. He's not alone. Consider this recent tweet from Sunil Devzar, a BJP leader, saying that a Hindu shrine in Andhra Pradesh had been encroached and an illegal cross was erected. It was retweeted by multiple BJP leaders, including Tejasvi Surya. But the Guntur police clarified that there was no encroachment. These were two different hillocks. Multiple BJP leaders and members tweeted insinuating that Arvind Kejriwal only gave COVID death compensation to one Muslim doctor's family. Alt News found that the compensation was given to 15 families, mostly belonging to the majority community. So it appears that the government really springs into action only on the rare instances where social media platforms demonstrate an inkling of spine, pushing back against ruling party misinformation. For example, like Twitter's labeling of tweets by BJP spokesperson Sambit Patra as manipulated media. An action that so outraged the government that Delhi Police's special cell, normally tasked with fighting terrorism, was sent to Twitter headquarters 3 weeks ago to serve them a notice. All right, joining me tonight on Reality Check, I have with me Shaadan Farasat, Advocate Supreme Court, Apar Gupta, Lawyer and Executive Director, Internet Freedom Foundation, Rahil Khurshid, Co-founder, Laminar Global, earlier with Twitter India. But let me start with you, Geeta Bhatt. Geeta Bhatt, how do we take the government's action seriously, where you strip immunity from Twitter for non-compliance? Okay. FIR is filed against Twitter, fair enough. But then, as we've just pointed out, the government, the ruling party itself, is constantly putting out fake news on social media and no action is taken. Geeta Bhatt.
Yes, go ahead. First of all, you see, what is, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Vasuji, this as their logo in 2012. Their creative director had called it that this is going to be the ultimate, platform for freedom of expression, hope, and limitless possibilities.
Yes.
But over the years, it has been, embroiled in controversies in many countries. And in the past couple of years,
yes,
how so many times this platform has been used, misused, where there has been using, the kind of algorithms which are there, content can be amplified, it can be subdued, and
that was not my question.
And there are many instances. We have seen the kind of...
Geeta ji, that is not my question though.
What is important here is...
My question was different. My question was the hypocrisy and the double standards.
You don't allow me to speak even for 20 seconds.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Geeta ji.
Right. So what I'm saying is that we have seen it even during anti-CAA riots, and that time we have really paid a price for it. The social fabric, it has been really hit bad in this country so many times. We saw it during the farmers' protest also how our national monuments, they were desecrated. And all
no, once again, Geeta ji,
floating all
this
around.
Is my whole point.
They have been.
No, Geeta ji, I'm letting you speak now.
If anyone,
but you're actually. Hold on. You're actually. Geeta ji, just a second. You're actually in a way.
You're not allowing me to answer your question.
No, you are. I am allowing you, but you're essentially not so much answering my question as essentially affirming what I'm saying. That just like you only cited instances like the anti-CA protests or the farmers' protests as examples of the misuse of social media, that's exactly the problem with the government's actions. It only gets agitated when there is a narrative that is critical to it, which erupts or it shows up on social media. I just cited multiple examples of hateful, false tweets by the BJP's IT cell head, other BJP leaders spreading fake news and misinformation on Twitter. Where are the FIRs against them? Where is the crackdown on Twitter for reining in that hate spread by the BJP? Answer that direct question.
I'm coming to that, Vasuji. You see, anyone, irrespective of which political party one belongs to, if there is an ample proof that misinformation has been put up by that person, and
right.
if that is verified,
okay.
then in that case, anyone can go and complain, and certain action should be taken place. No one is denying that, but it is how selectively. Yes. Twitter has been acting. One example I will give, and this is totally non-political. Recently, Twitter has, subdued a video which was basically on the reproductive rights and on abortion rights of women.
Okay.
And that video, it was, so that is something which was absolutely non-political. But
okay, but when you say, when you say everybody is equal under the law, the actions of the government don't quite suggest that. Anyway, let me just come back to you. Shaadan Farasat, the problem, as I mentioned in my introduction, is we are sort of sandwiched between this pincer, where on one hand you have social media platforms that do a terrible job of policing hate. In fact, they end up almost enabling it at times, especially when it comes to ruling regime. And on the other hand, you have this government which says they want to monitor disinformation and hate, though they're deeply invested in it.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the government policing speech is never a good idea. Even if you have to police speech, you need independent, genuinely independent regulators. And that has to be the mechanism, if at all. But I think I find something even more fundamentally shocking about this FIR. The FIR is on people or journalists because somebody gave a version of events that he had been subjected to a certain crime. That version of events is still there. He's still holding on to it. Somebody reports it or puts it on Twitter, and therefore investigation is underway. And therefore, in the meantime, you have invoked hate speech 505, etc. of IPC. Under what basis? It's like saying, I'll give you an example. Somebody accuses someone of rape, and tomorrow it is found that, the whole media reports it. Tomorrow it is found it was not a rape, but it was a genuine, say, consensual interaction. Now, are you going to, over the entire media, are you going to impose certain provisions of the IPC?
Right.
I mean, I find it elementary law is missing. Whoever has registered this FIR, it's not even fake news.
Yeah.
It's a version of event of a certain section reported by the media. It's
Right.
perfectly legitimate.
Not just that, I think what the other aspect to this is, Apar, that even I think this is something that you've been pointing out, that even this idea that this is being used as a test case to say that now Twitter's immunity is gone and now hence the FIR will be filed against them. You've actually pointed out, you others, Internet Freedom Foundation, that this is actually, I mean, and let's try and keep it simple for the ordinary viewer, that this is technically not possible. That immunity,
Yes,
legal immunity or what they call intermediary status is not something the government can take away in that manner.
Yes. So the parliament passed a law which grants a certain degree of immunity to social media platforms, which are qualified as intermediaries. Now, that's a big word. And what that essentially means is that when, Vasu, anybody posts a message on, let's say, Facebook or Twitter, Facebook or Twitter is not liable. The actual user is liable.
Right.
And Facebook and Twitter basically need to follow certain compliances prescribed by the government, including a legal order or request to take something down which they say is illegal. Now, what the government has done, it made certain rules recently which have been in the eye of the storm. And the ministerial statement which came today and prior was reported in the press according to certain unnamed sources was saying that Twitter's intermediary status and hence these protections
has
are
been
stripped
removed
away. So the consequence was this UP case, for instance, can lead to a prosecution not only of the people who have posted these things for
but
a
also
moment
Twitter.
presuming, but also Twitter.
Yeah.
Now, what's the problem with this? The fundamental problem with this is the Act of Parliament, which gives this status of intermediary to social media platforms, does not require any process of registration. It does not require or grant any power to the government to revoke the status of an intermediary or this protective shield.
Okay.
All of this compliance is judged by courts. For instance, in this UP FIR, for
It'll
instance,
be the courts that will decide. Right.
Yes, exactly.
So it's
I
really
would say
sending out, it's okay. So maybe it's just more like sending out a signal to Twitter. But the whole point is, but it is still, Rahil, it is still a big deal that you have a government, possibly, I don't know if this is the first government in the world that will say, we're removing compliance, we're removing immunity, I beg your pardon. But, you know, Rahil, as I was saying, that there's not a lot of sympathy here for Twitter, is there, given that Twitter and other social media platforms have been complicit in this kind of spreading of hate and misinformation, have just not done enough about it.
Look, Vasu, there is two strands to the debate. One is, do social media companies need to step up when it comes to misinformation on their platforms? Yes, absolutely. There are no two opinions about whether that needs to happen. That absolutely needs to happen. Twitter and other platforms that have users in country need to ramp up their infrastructure. They need to ramp up language support. They need to get better at making sure that misinformation, hate speech, targeted hate speech against minority groups and
so
others.
let me just Rahil, let me just jump in there for a second. Rahil, as someone who's also been a Twitter insider, why do you think there is such a struggle with trying to get this in order? Because it's been years of people pointing this out. Why is it? Is it because there's so much pressure from the governments that they don't want to go against, ruling regime, disinformation and hate? Is it because, countries like India are big markets?
Well, it's a complicated question to seek an answer for. Like the protocols on which these platforms have been built,
Right.
Were very, very different. The modalities of those protocols were very different. When platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and others came into being, the internet was a very, very different place.
Right.
The other aspect of this is that a lot of for example, in Twitter's case, the applicability of free speech, the free speech context,
Sure.
was fundamentally an American one that was transported to other markets, irrespective of whether those markets or the political ground reality of those markets allow.
So the context could be different.
Free speech. So that's one.
Okay.
So if you have to solve for this, there is obviously a case to be made for stronger regulation, but is the current government the best judge
Yes.
or regulator in that context? That's for us to debate.
Okay, let me take that to Geeta Bhatt, because Geeta Bhatt, that's, as I said, I come back to that fundamental issue that, again, no one is making the case that these social media giants don't need some kind of oversight, or that hate and disinformation online is not a big problem. It's when you have a regime that is actively spreading this kind of hate and disinformation that's a problem. Yogi Adityanath, whose police, state government, he heads Uttar Pradesh, his own police has filed this FIR. Yogi Adityanath himself makes hate speech after hate speech. We can put up that graphic on the screen for you.
Well,
should I read out some examples if you like?
The particular case which has, led to this FIR. Vasuji, we have seen that, it is nowhere in the video, anywhere it is being said that the word Jai Shri Ram has been used. Neither in the FIR it has been said. While there have multiple times people have tweeted calling it that, he was being forced, the gentleman who already knew these people.
That's because he was saying it.
Misconduct. So it was a crime.
No.
The projection
Hold on.
that it was not a crime, but trying to create, communal disharmony.
No, Geeta ji.
That is something which is very, very dangerous, and it needs to be pointed out.
One second. The man himself, the victim, he has come out and said, in interviews, he came out and said, I was made to chant these slogans. So if someone is reporting that, I may report it, you may report it, that this man has made this allegation. How is that a crime? He is saying it.
You see, what is being contested or objected over here is that even the video which has been tweeted, the sound has been muted over there. It is a mute video which people are posting again and again. And there, what is being written, one senior person is writing, it is the Hindu Rashtra going to elections. And then trying to say that, the Muslims are being targeted over here.
Okay, so my question is...
The police has categorically given a statement, even if there was a confusion earlier. When the Ghaziabad police has given a statement where categorically it is being said
one
that,
second, categorical... One second, Geeta ji, one second. One second, Geeta ji, Ghaziabad police... Geeta ji, Ghaziabad police, one second. The police is still investigating the case, is it not? There are multiple versions. The police is saying one thing, the man who was attacked is sticking to his stand, that it was a communal attack. On the basis of that, how can you start filing FIRs against people? The matter is still being investigated. It is not being tested in court. There is no final verdict on what it was. How can you preemptively start saying, this is an FIR, that is an FIR? That's the issue. But anyway, coming, Shadan, to the point of what is the system now? How is it supposed to react in this case? Because you both have an FIR against Twitter, and it's likely that we will see an escalation of this, quite apart from the FIR against journalists and all that, which keeps happening. It's the FIR against Twitter and the action against Twitter, which is the big thing. Are we likely to see Twitter ramp up now this kind of complicity or compliance with which it buckles into requests from the ruling regime, whether it is to take down critical posts of the regime, whether it is to mute or silence handles that are seen as critical of the regime?
See, I don't know in terms of strategy what Twitter will do, but my sense is that a lot of, there was informal understanding between governments and the big tech, Facebook and Twitter. And that has broken down with the US elections and all that has changed in the US in the last year.
Right.
And now that sort of informal understanding does not continue. And therefore, you have these companies behaving their own way, and government doesn't know how to sort of deal with it because that informal understanding really doesn't exist. And that's why you have even Twitter and, for that matter, even Facebook. These issues have all arisen in the last 6 to 8 months. Otherwise, you had, and this is not just in India, Facebook more, in fact, has reasonably cozy relationships, at least has had in the past, with the regimes as they were.
Okay.
So I don't know what they will do, but I just think that insofar as removal of the safe harbor is concerned, there is no provision in law which the government seems, there's no notification where they're even purporting that they have the power. So I don't know under what power are they doing it.
Right. Apar, we're apparently running out of time. A quick comment from you. Someone posted on Twitter saying Twitter could become another coup now as a result of this, which is the kind of government-promoted alternative social media platform. Is that,
so? My short comment.
Yes.
Yeah, my short comment around this is firstly on 2 points. For tech companies to truly transform into respecting human rights, and I mean human rights for people across the political spectrum, their leadership needs to change. Each shareholder proposal in Facebook, Alphabet, which is the parent company of Google, as well as Twitter this year, for a human rights level director position has been voted down by the existing board of shareholders, which includes its founders. I urge people to look at this closely.
Okay.
Secondly, the complicity of Twitter with government or any other platform with government comes at a democratic cost. And I believe this is unsustainable in the long term.
Sure.
And Shadan's comments around this are fairly, I think, prescient on the political moment we are in.
Right. Rahil, what do you think that's going to happen? Do you think this will actually push Twitter? I mean, Twitter barely puts up a resistance. As I said, they tried to label one tweet by a BJP leader as a manipulated media, and look what happened. Now, even that basic level of pushback will go away?
Well, it's a difficult moment for Twitter, and it's also a perfect opportunity for them to mount a really strong legal challenge to what are fundamentally really terrible rules. And I do hope that they can take these rules to, they can go to court, exercise the rights that they are, that they can, being registered as an entity in the Union of India. Everything else is rhetoric. The government can position what it wants to position. It can say that it's going to coup. It can say that it's edging Twitter out and so on and so forth. The choice in front of the government is very clear, whether it wants an open internet where internet providers, companies can set up shop in India, or it wants to go the Chinese way. There's no half measures.
Right. So it's a...
Can I make a comment, please?
It's an all or nothing. Okay, yes. Very quickly, Geeta ji, I'm told I'm completely out of time.
Yeah.
Yes, Geeta ji.
Vasuji, these, the free internet, these digital platforms were really a breath of fresh air when they came, because it was like having a public debate and audience had a right to decide which way they wanted to be. The trouble has begun when these mediums, they have become conscious that they can monopolize that what reaches the users. And that is where the problem has started.
The problem has nothing to do with no introspection, Geeta ji. The problem has nothing to do with the fact that you have members of the ruling party, heads of IT cells spreading misinformation and hate on these platforms. That's not a problem at all. Okay.
You see.
All right, okay. Well, that is, I would say, like I said, it's the classic pincer. You have both these bad faith actors, and that's really the challenge for us. But let's see how the story plays out. We're completely out of time. Thank you all so much for joining me on Reality Check and for watching. Good night.